Hi. So today we will be making the Sexy Man soap, and I'm just going to go along with everything that I used in this, as well as talk about the benefits of soap making. So first, we started off with distilled water. So you always want to use distilled water whenever you are making soap. It's just because it removes all the impurities, so you shouldn't use tap water. Spring water is, it's okay, but distilled water is probably the best water to use, unless you use like milk or aloe vera or anything else. But then you also want to use lye. Now, don't let anybody sit here and tell you that their soap contains no lye. If they say that, they're lying to you because all soap contained lye at some point. Now, if they're using melting pour, then it just was already made and they're just remelting it down and using it. But soap has lye in it. Well, not really, but it had lye in it at one point, and then it's saponified out. So it's no longer present. It's kind of like cooking with wine. You use the wine to make it, but it's not in it at the end result. And just be clear that lye gets very hot, so you want to be in a well ventilated area, stay away so you don't inhale the fumes, have masks, eyewear, and everything, and just keep yourself protected. So now, what I'm moving on to is the olive oil. Now, olive oil is to provide moisture into the soap as well as it gives it a nice slick feeling when you're using it. Now, there are different forms of oils that you can use and you can look up different benefits, but I like olive oil. Now, castor oil is on the thicker side, and one side note is you never want to use more than 5% of castor oil because it'll take away from the bubbles, as well as it'll get sticky, and no one wants a sticky soap. I mean, it just feels gross, especially for those who have a texture issue. Now, this oil is the main one for cleansing, coconut oil. Coconut oil has a wonderful cleansing effect, and it's used in a lot of natural skin products as well as moisturizing products because not only is it cleansing, but it's also moisturizing. And I really enjoy it as a cleansing, but there are others that are out there. Now, tallow, this is beef tallow, and this is also to go along with the olive oil in regards to providing moisture. It contains vitamin A and D, which is great for your skin, and overall, just a well-rounded fat. Because that's really all soaps are, is fats or oils and lye. And when it comes to cold processed soap, instead of being like big brands and taking out the glycerin, this is making the glycerin for you. So now, here is you're just going to see me ensuring everything is all melted down and mixed together, as well as the lye is clear. So if you used water and your lye water looks a little muddy, I don't know if you want to really chance that unless you added other things into it like silk, sugar, salt. But if you just do lye and water, it should be clear before you pour it in there. And then you also want to make sure they're in between 10 degrees of each other for the most part. Now, if one is higher than the other, it is okay. However, it may change the amount of trace. How fast it can get to trace. Now, you see me adding colloidal oats here. Now, this is just for like a mild, very, very mild exfoliant, as well as it helps to kind of like remove the dead skin And another one would be like kaolin clay or, poppy seeds if you want like a little more, because colloidal oats you're not really going to feel. And then fragrance oil, and you always want to check the usage rate of your fragrance oil because some can cause skin irritations, and that goes for both fragrance oils and essential oils. It doesn't matter which one you decide to use, just make sure you pay attention to the usage oils of them simply because they can cause different reactions. And, if you want to be all natural, just be very aware that some essential oils are bad for pregnant women. So you may want to look into that if you decide to sell and or gift this soap. So that is another thing you may want to be aware of. I've done both. I've done essential oils and fragrance oils. Now, I will say fragrance oils will last longer in soap than essential oils will, but they're both pretty great in soap, honestly. So now here you see me pouring the lye against the spoon so it doesn't splash up. You can also use a sifter. A lot of people do use sifters when they're pouring in their lye water. It's just to, catch the little flakes that may still be present in there. So that is another option. I wouldn't just go ahead and dump it in there quickly just because of splashback. And remember, this is a chemical that we are working in order for the fats and oils and butters that are in our soap to go through a saponification process that will turn this into skin goodness. So I just mixed it all together, and now I'm getting my blender, and I'm going to just blend this for a few. See me tapping for air pockets. It's not really necessary, but it does help, especially if your soap begins to thicken up way too quickly. It does help when you're getting it in the mold, but it's not really truly necessary. So here I am just blending, mixy. And sometimes I like to get the spoon and mix along with this. I didn't really do it in this one because this one was actually working really well for me. Like, it didn't really thicken up too much. And I cut it down significantly because it did take a while. The temperatures were a little too high for what I normally use, and this is actually, it all depends on like what the weather is like around the house and outside, because that actually does cause a different type of effect for soap when it comes to hidden trace. So you may also want to pay attention to that. However, since I'm not really doing any big designs or anything in this, I'm still practicing on designs. I haven't necessarily figured them out. I've colored all of 2 soaps, so still working on coloring as well as making designs. But this was just going to be a men's soap, and they don't really need fancy tops or anything. So the fact that it didn't get to like a really thick trace was not bothersome, just simply because it was going to be a flat top soap. And truly, I prefer flat top soaps compared to like big top soaps. I mean, I think it's just because I haven't really figured out how to do it yet, as well as I would need to change my packaging. And right now, my packaging is pretty set. So, yeah, there it is. I poured it into the mold. I cleaned up the sides, and I just let it set. And then I came back the next day. I didn't show that, and cut it, and then allowed it to cure for 4 weeks. Thank you.